got Vimba here with headlines of today's newspaper from around the world. Vimba meeting. Great to have you, Vimba.
It's good to be here. Good morning.
Good morning,
very happy birthday to you again. Our, what is it? President of the Joy Crew.
Joy Crew.
Yes. I love it. Now, see, can't you see we are joy with our bows and everything?
Absolutely.
In celebration of our leader. Rufai, good morning. It's good to see you.
And it's
good. We're all rhyming in our own ways. You know what? Before the producer and director start telling me about how little time I have, let's get straight into it, everybody. Thank you so much, and a very good morning to you. We kick off with This Day newspaper, as is tradition here. Of course, we know the biggest story across the land at the moment is all about the issues going on with the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. So in strong signal to MDAs, Tinubu probes Edu over public money paid into private accounts. Above the masthead, CBN pays 2.062 billion additional FX forwards, with banks disperses 61.64 million to foreign airlines. That's a story that Reuters took in the morning. We're seeing moves being made by the Central Bank of Nigeria to try and balance things out with regards to foreign currency owed to various companies and entities. And then below the masthead, the headline there reads, 2027 poll not in focus for Atiku, Obi, Kwankwaso, others. Now, this is coming from the National Consultative Forum led by Professor Pat Utomi. And he's saying that the focus of the former presidential candidates is not contesting the 2027 elections, but they're focusing on how to build a formidable political party that would rescue Nigeria from the grips of APC. And of course, this is in reaction to all of the headlines from last week that were alluding to a race already playing out in the background to the next election. And the quote from the National Consultative Forum with regards to these headlines is that they are an agenda to frustrate the merger proposal for leading opposition parties. So we quickly go to the Leadership newspaper, which has decided to run with this story as well as their lead story. Opposition hints at merger to form mega party. So it's all in the conversation. 2027 politics have begun. So they're saying Atiku Obi Kwankwaso focused on building formidable structure. Wike's G5 reactivated, seeks support for Tinubu presidents. Loyalists pay allegiance to Rivers ex-governor. So that quickly takes us to the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune also leading with Better Edu, Tinubu direct probe. However, at the very top right-hand corner above the masthead, PDP G5 will support Tinubu in 2027, and that's according to the former governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom. So it looks like we're going to be talking about elections for the next 3 years if our politicians have anything to say by it. Anyway, let's segue to other issues. Let's head to the Daily Trust. Daily Trust is leading with palliative conversations, this time shifting away from what is happening with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and looking at Tinubu's 57.8 billion naira rice palliative raises dust. Now, the presidency has, of course, showcased a number of palliatives, a scorecard rather of palliatives disbursement that have been done for Nigerians, which the Daily Trust has broken down so beautifully on their front page. However, this particular conversation is all about the revelation that each senator got 200 million naira worth of palliatives and 100 million naira each for the House of Representatives, which is now causing chaos in some constituencies, as constituents are saying that they have not received the proceeds, which was to come in the form of bags of rice. However, Shegun Dada, who is the special assistant to the president, has come out and said that this was not meant to be a cash disbursement. Firstly, he said that the Ministry of Agriculture was mandated to do the distribution. However, this distribution is yet to reach all corners of the nation. So that's to clarify that. However, people are up in arms accusing their lawmakers of hoarding palliatives. This hoarding issue coming up again. Anyway, let's move over to the Vanguard newspaper. Vanguard is also looking at bread and butter issue. They're leading with Naira notes scarcity. It continues. Crunch worsens, banks ration across the counter. Now, this report details how, of course, the CBN had recently suspended charges for cash withdrawals above the regulatory limits of 500,000 for individuals and 3 million for corporates, but the banks are still pegging customer withdrawals for below the statutory limits. Vanguard has gone out to do an investigation which revealed that counter withdrawals are currently ranging from 10,000 to 40,000 naira. That's over the counter. Many ATMs are only dispensing 5,000 naira, and many are even empty as well. That's according to a special investigation by the Vanguard. And we'll now quickly go to the Punch newspaper, because who does this hit hardest today? It hits hard at the parents who are sending their children back to school. So, of course, the lead story there is Better Edu. Tinubu vows sanctions as anger grows over 585 million naira scandal. But before that is the image of schools resuming today after Christmas holidays. And you wonder, with this limited access to cash, how are parents sending their bundles of joy back to school? It's a stressful period for a lot of people right now. With economy already on its, crunching hard at everybody, and now the pressure of sending children to school. But still looking at education now from a security perspective, let's go to the Abuja Inquirer. The Abuja Inquirer leading with how insecurity, banditry fuels overcrowding in FCT schools. Now, this report is all about how schools in the FCT have been forced to stretch their facilities to accommodate the inflow of pupils fleeing their states due to insecurities. So schools are resorting to core members, PTA teachers, to come and fill in to bridge the gap. Abuja votes 13.1 billion for toilets, furniture for schools. So that is what Nigeria is looking like today. Very quickly, international papers, The Guardian, top Tory says party faces obliteration in election. Danny Kruger, who of course is a leading backbencher and founder of the increasingly influential New Conservatives groups, is promising the Conservatives obliteration at the next election. And last but certainly not least, in New York, the New York Times. This is something that Reuters already discussed earlier. Leaders reach spending deal as clock ticks. We all know that the Senate and House leaders announced that they have struck a deal, meaning that if it's passed into law in good time, there will not be a partial government shutdown in the United States. So, very quickly, that is what is happening around the world, leading news cycles around the world.
Vimba, I'd like to take that story as regards banditry and insurgency, overcrowding schools in the FCT from the Abuja Inquirer. I think it's a story that pretty much reflects what's happening in other parts of the country, what banditry and insurgency is doing. Obviously, because of mass migration. And a couple of years ago, I'd had to work with a certain school that was housing, and I'd had to do some charity work with a certain school. I was asking some students that were leaving the north as a result of banditry. And we have a lot of them amongst us, not even in Abuja. And that's the sad reality of the country we live in today. And you see, when we're talking about investors coming, these are the kind of things they read. And they have way more data than us. They do way more research. They pay for a lot of data, and they see these things happening. But the question we should ask the government is, with the amount of money voted for security, what have we done with that money? How can we be accountable? Since the beginning of this administration, we've had a lot of money earmarked to be able to secure our country, but we are not seeing the result as regards even securing the FCT. There's been a proliferation of kidnapping in the FCT, banditry, and when you say it, this is the nation's capital. And that's why you see, when you have things like this better debacle happening, or this better gate happening, we need to ask ourselves severe questions. And it's not only in this regard, it's across board.
Yeah. All right, just 30 seconds on the Daily Trust headline around the rice palliatives, 57.8 billion now. And I say this because of what also happened with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. Just to clarify a few things, the president didn't give them money. However, he approved rice worth 200 million naira to be given to senators for onward distribution to their constituents, and 100 million naira worth of bags of rice given to the House of Representatives members, again for onward distribution. This is important because we must continue to hold our representatives to account, so that when X amount of money or X amount is given towards the purchase of gifts or palliatives for their constituents, and the constituents don't get it, we wonder why. I must make a recommendation, and I made this last week. Whenever initiatives like the free bus, subsidized bus, free train, there should be a portal where people can report if they don't get it, so that if it's not gotten, we can report any erring official who hasn't ensured that the people who are most in need get these gifts from the president. People are hungry. Bag of rice would go a long way in helping with regards to cushioning the effect of some of the policies that this administration has made. So I think it's really important to mention that. Thank you so much, Rimba.
Hashtag where's the rice?
Where's the rice? Give us the rice.
Bag of rice. Let's not be like the Indomie.
No. Hashtag Ebing Power.